Now, it looks like WhatsApp is fast-tracking its payment services push in India. A Bloomberg report suggests that the Facebook-owned messaging app is looking to roll out services to a larger audience by as early as next week. So what's WhatsApp's game plan here? To talk about that, I'm joined on the phone line by Anthony of Bloomberg News, who covered that story. Anto, thanks so much for speaking to us. Now, I was going through that report of yours. It's an interesting development. Could you also break it down for our viewers and tell us, when you talk about a full-scale rollout, is this essentially the difference between the original rollout, which was a beta rollout? Because a lot of us in our office have been using WhatsApp in its beta phase.
Yes, Ayush, that'd be right. So the beta rollout, which got a lot of rave reviews, had happened in Feb. So right now what WhatsApp is planning to do is to provide this service, this payment service, to all the 200 million users, or more than 200 million users, which they have in India. So the payments would be processed by HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and Axis Bank. And probably at a later date, SBI will also join these three lenders. So this, as you know, is a bit of delayed a full rollout. The beta version had been launched in February, and the original plan was to roll out the service to its all India users by mid-April. But it got delayed because some of the partners were not ready for a full rollout. But even though all the four partners are not yet ready, WhatsApp is fast-tracking it and it's going ahead with it because Google says is taking away a major market share, and they just don't want to be left a distant second for a long time. So the competition in this space is going to really heat up in the coming weeks.
No, absolutely, Anto. And just as a follow-up question, now there were issues with the beta rollout. I remember on Bloomberg Quint also we spoke to the Paytm founder Vijay Shekhar Sharma, and he was very irate with this particular rollout, saying that some terms and conditions were not followed and the particular stipulations for a beta rollout were not followed. But even in its beta stage, it's been used a lot. So, in terms of although these particular bank partners are not ready, are there any concerns that that they are going out with a full-scale rollout, just hurrying things up, perhaps?
So obviously, when that opened up to rave reviews, a lot of local and overseas competitors had raised issues regarding it. But the authority on this, NPCI, has come out and really strongly backed WhatsApp systems in place, and they also point out that whatever drawbacks are there would be addressed in a full beta in the full rollout. So although I don't have all the details, from what we understand, all those issues which have been raised by the competitors, rivals, have been addressed, and this has NPCI's full endorsement.
All right, Anto, thanks so much for that update. Now, I want to take this story further. Vivek Belgavi of PwC India joins us on the phone line to understand the implications of this push by WhatsApp. Vivek, thanks so much for speaking to us on Bloomberg Quint. Now, given what the size of the market here in India is, do you think it makes sense, considering the beta phase that we've seen with WhatsApp payments and how they've actually managed to deliver, some sort of service to Indians? Do you think it makes sense for them to hurry things up in India?
Absolutely, yes. So I concur with the statement earlier that it's a great opportunity. They already have got a strong engagement platform, and where we are in India right now, we could do with more of it. We still have a lot more distance to cover in terms of driving payments-led inclusion in the country. More than 50% of our bank accounts are not extremely active, and this platform will run on UPI, which will make it easier for a lot of users to get onto the payments story and move to non-cash channels. So I don't think it's more of a competition story. It's more of a lot of white spaces still left, especially when it comes to merchants and SMEs. And if WhatsApp gets its story right in terms of linking it to WhatsApp Business and driving engagement, there is yet a lot of market to be covered.
Right, Vivek, and just to understand some of these comparisons for viewers watching, a lot of people have likened WhatsApp to WeChat in China. Now, we know what WeChat did in China. It's perhaps one of the most sticky apps, so to speak, in China. It offers a lot more than just a pure chat service. Now, WhatsApp started off as a very clean UI, very typical chat messaging platform. And now it's sort of, especially in a country like India, has seen that there is a market for something like a payment service. Do you think this is perhaps this will go, this move will go a long way for WhatsApp in perhaps determining whether they are a more sticky application which is not just used for messaging in a country like India?
So there are some commonalities and there are some divergences as well. The commonality is chat is a very sticky and engaging mechanism, and you have an opportunity to get payments in line with the conversation. So to that extent, there are similarities between WeChat and WhatsApp. But the divergence is, WeChat is a bit of an open platform, so there are a lot of third-party applications which are plugged into it. So WeChat thrives on creating an ecosystem. WhatsApp till now has been a bit of a closed story, so it is not easy for banks and third-party fintechs to ride on top of WhatsApp. So it's a bit of a closed ecosystem. So that's where the similarity ends. It really depends on what the end goal of WhatsApp is. If they are looking at it as an extension of a chat service, then they will succeed. If they want to become a full-fledged kind of a financial super house of sorts, then they have a distance to go.
Absolutely, Vivek. Thanks so much for joining us on Bloomberg Quint. And for all of you watching, well, you heard it first here on Bloomberg Quint. WhatsApp is planning to fast-track and sort of hurry its full-scale rollout of its payment services. We had it in beta phase all this while. Here in India, we might just see a rollout as early as next week. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.